Good morning, Southwest Montana. It is 6 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m. It's Friday, January 17th, 2020. 38 degrees outside. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Shane and Tom, half man, half amazing. The best co-host in radio history is on the line from snow-covered Vancouver, British Columbia. Holy smoke.
4.5 feet now.
Wow. Any building cave-ins?
Not yet. Nothing reported locally.
Nothing yet, huh?
No.
Well, we're looking for snow today, so maybe we're going to get what you got coming in this morning. So we'll see how that goes. You know, I was thinking about our theme song, Shane. The boys are back in town, suggested by one of our listeners, and a great suggestion that was. And I was thinking, well, you know, we're kind of here. We're not back in town. But then I was thinking that, well, you're in Vancouver, so when you come on the air, you're actually coming to Bozeman electronically, so you're back in town.
Yeah, figuratively speaking.
Yeah, you're figuratively speaking, you're back in town. And I live outside the city limits, so I'm back in town. I guess.
You're a wanderer.
Yeah. And here's a tip. If you live outside of the city limits of Bozeman, Belgrade, Livingston, Three Forks, Manhattan, wherever, and someone asks you to do something that you don't want to do, all you have to say is, I'm going to be out of town.
That's right.
I'm going to be out of town, man. I can't help you move. I can't watch your dogs.
You should have asked me 32 years ago to do this.
Yeah, right. Well, let's hope anyway. So anyway, that's a tip for all you out of towners.
Out of towners.
Yeah. Anytime anybody wants you to go to a party you don't want to go to, or in-laws want to visit, you can say, sorry, we're going to be out of town. And just sit up and put your feet up and relax, and you won't have to deal with those people.
Well, it's always exciting seeing history being made. It is, of course, every day all over the world. But what a procedure yesterday! My goodness, watching that.
I know. Everybody sworn in to be impartial under God. Give me a break.
And it reminded me of the the argument of the Queen Mother, Elizabeth II's mother, when the Queen of Hearts died. When she died in that terrible car accident. And she had not prepared a wedding, because all these people prepare for these massive weddings in England, all of royalty. So they used the Queen Mother's plan, and it really peed her off. She had it down to everything, what part of the military would be there, and who in the parade would be there. Anyway, what an out of town story. Yeah,
the cake and the cake and the seating arrangements and all that. Yeah, all right.
And the gin.
And the gin. Yeah, all right. Well, we're getting some snow today, mainly before noon. Temperature rising to 35 by 8 a.m., and then it's going to fall to 27 during the remainder of the day. We're going to have some gusty winds, and chance of precip is 90%. New snow accumulation, 1 to 2 inches is possible. And we are in a winter weather advisory for Ennis, Norris Hill, Virginia City, West Yellowstone, Bozeman Pass, all of those spots, and for Madison and Gallatin County. Snow's expected. Total accumulations could be 1 to 3 inches in lower elevations, 3 to 6 in the mountains. Winds gusting as high as 30 miles an hour. And that's going to be from 2 a.m. to 5 p.m. Today. And or 2 a.m. Yesterday morning, or last night, I guess I should say, till 5 a.m. today. And so plan on slippery road conditions. Areas of blowing snow could significantly reduce visibility. The hazardous conditions could impact the morning commute. So maybe you might want to leave a little early just in case. Friday night, tonight, we're going to have increasing clouds with a low around 16. And then on Saturday, It's going to be partly sunny with a high near 33, and on Saturday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 21. No snow mentioned on those days, nor on Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 39, and Sunday night, partly cloudy with a low around 21. And then for Martin Luther King Day, it's going to be sunny with a high near 44, so that should get rid of some of the snow on the roads. And Monday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 27. Tuesday, partly sunny with a high near 45 for your commute back to some of you. And Tuesday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 28. And then on Wednesday, we have another slight chance of snow, mostly cloudy, high near 41. That shouldn't produce much of anything, and a slight chance of snow. Wednesday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 26. So there's your forecast for the week, I guess. Temperatures around the air, I don't know what I'm doing. It's Friday.
Finally.
Finally Friday. I'm lucky I can work anything. Livingston right now standing at 38 degrees. Manhattan's 39. Three Forks is 38. Gallatin Gateway is 31. Big Sky is 28. West Yellowstone is 26. Gardner's 29. Ennis is 38. And at the airport in Belgrade right now, it's 40 degrees. We're right at 38 here at 12 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m. And road conditions are pretty good. However, we've got snow coming in, so I wouldn't put a whole lot of stock in the road conditions at the moment. Everything is pretty much green except for 191, of course, going down to West Yellowstone. The Homestake Pass is clear. Bozeman Hill looks clear. If you're going up to Townsend, Helena, that's all clear. Billings to Butte is pretty well clear, and so you're in pretty good shape. But that snow is going to be coming in, so be careful out there. That don't think you got good road conditions once that snow starts. So, and as I say, it's going to be mostly in Madison and Gallatin County, at least for the winter weather advisory. So our poll question from yesterday, how would you rate your 2019? 27% of you gave it 3 stars. 22% gave it 5 stars, and 20% gave it 4 stars, and 12% 2 stars, and 10% 1 star. So
wow,
there you are. One person gave it negative stars and lots of them. That was 2%. We had 1 vote for that. And let's see, just another year, same as always. And their year was crap cake. So that's our other answers there. So yeah, well, I hope your 2020 goes better than crap cake. Really hoping that does better. All right. Where do you stand politically? Well, right now, 62% of you identify as conservatives. 25% are diehard Republicans. 12% vote for the person, not the party. And there's some other answers. Diehard Democrat, diehard Republican, a moderate Green Party, Constitution Party, Socialist Party, or you can put your own answer in. So that's where we are in early voting at the moment. Our rebroadcast, Shane, we are 43 away from 3,000 downloads of our shows, just 43 downloads away. So we'll make that easily this month, and we'll be at 3,000 downloads pretty quickly here. So if you missed any of our shows, of course, they're all online, all 310 of them. So listen to whatever you want, whenever you want. And they're all commercial free, no news, no commercials, just the show itself. So that makes it pretty nice. And so get over to KMMSAM.com and check it out. Or the easy way, of course, is on the AM 1450 KMMS app. You've got a button for podcasts on there. And don't forget to sign up for the app because you can listen to us on there if you're outside of an area, or if you're in an area where the signal doesn't come in strongly, you can check us out online. And also you can call us directly. All you have to do is hit the call button, and it'll say, do you want to call 522-TALK? And you just click yes, and bam, you're there. You don't have to dial it or put it on speed dial or leave and go to go to your phone. You can do it right on your phone. And you've got news, you got weather anytime you want it on the phone. And of course, as you know, this is Town Square Media. We don't have the money to email you or spam you or send anything to you because we don't have anybody to do it. I mean, we got empty offices all up and down here. So you got no worries there, man. So download the app. Just look wherever apps are, or do a search on your phone for AM 1450 KMMS, and it'll pull it up. Just download it, and you will be styling. And
excellent.
It's an excellent way for you to keep in touch with what's going on in Bozeman. And somebody called the other day, a construction worker said, hey, sometimes I work outside of your listening area, so I just pop it on the phone and I get you guys every morning. So we appreciate that very much, and thanks for that tip. And, of course, you can also get us on KMMSAM.com. And the other thing is, sometimes when we're off the air, we're not off the air streaming. We're off the air broadcasting, but out of the air. But we may be streaming on the phone or on the laptop. So check us out there. Go to KMMSAM.com or AM 1450 KMMS and keep in touch with us because we like you. Right?
Okay, well, before we get to the farmers and truck drivers, my tip of the day is with regard to impeachment in the Senate. And if you want to look for the parliamentary practice, you want to look at a manual of parliamentary practice for the U.S. For use of the Senate of the United States. It was written in 1801 by the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson. He was president from 1801 to 1809. And it is the go-to book of parliamentary procedure. So imagine that. The 26 rules of impeachment are in there and written by Thomas Jefferson. I'm trying to read this book. Very fascinating.
I would say so. So, all right. All right.
That's my tip of the day.
Right. 18 minutes after the hour, we've got to take care of our ranchers, farmers, truck drivers, cab drivers, everybody that brings you food, booze, or clothing, and we're brought to you by the Club Tavern and Grill. Check out the Club Tavern and Grill at the Best Western Grand Tree on North 7th, across from Walmart. Tell them Tom and Shane sent you down, and we'll be right back after the Ag Report. 24 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m. It's Friday, January 17, 2020, 38 degrees outside. Temperature's going to drop. Snow is going to start falling here shortly, and it's going to get colder. It's going to drop down to the high 20s. And snow is coming in 1 to 2 or 3 inches expected, depending on which forecast you look at. But we're going to get some snow today. So be aware of that as you're traveling around. We were talking earlier about swearing in the Senate, Shane. You were talking about Thomas Jefferson. And from our text line, unbiased my ass. I don't think they're unbiased. If you ask me, how you can hold your hand up and swear under God that you're going to be impartial is I don't know. I wonder how do you sleep at night?
Well, especially the 4 senators, right, that are running.
I was going to say they're for the past,
and all 4 or 3 of them. The one from Colorado wasn't in the debate, but 3 of them. Yeah. At the debate said he should be impeached. Yeah. So like they've already made up their minds, and then they say, "Oh, we're good." But here's the bottom line: if they vote, in any way in this process for Trump for anything, in favor, they'll lose their nomination. They won't win the nomination. So they should recuse themselves. They should be part of it. It's ridiculous.
Well, it's like Bernie and some of these other guys not voting for the USMCA because it didn't have anything about climate change in it. Well, come on. I mean,
that's what it wasn't about climate change.
Okay, Mexico and Canada need to clean it up. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on this day in history in 1562, French Protestants were recognized under the Edict of Saint Germain. Would they have big P's on their forehead or something, or how were they recognized?
These Protestants in France were called the Huguenots, and this is important because it sort of goes along with what we've been talking about the 16th century, what was going on in the 1500s. So you folks may have heard this name, Catherine de' Medici. She was basically a German married into the French family. sad thing though is she supported this tolerance decree, because the Huguenots were part of the Roman Catholic Church, but it also resulted in the first civil religious war of France that lasted from 1562 to 1598. 3 million people perished during the Civil War in France over religion, and it was one of the reasons that it held up France from becoming, a greater world power like Britain and Spain. But again, it's one of these things that happened back in the 1500s that had a huge impact on Europe. So there you are.
All right. Well, in 1706, on this date, statesman and inventor Benjamin Franklin was born in Boston. 70 years later, Declaration of Independence. Wow.
Yeah, and the talent of this guy, it's amazing how many guys were born and get another game changer. Everybody knows about him, but for me, the best part was Poor Richard's Almanac, which he wrote under the pseudonym, I like this, Richard Saunders.
Yeah.
So that made him quite wealthy, and it was a very successful book. But he pioneered the Academy of College in Philadelphia, University of Pennsylvania, the American Philosophical Society,
Post Office,
and the Post Office that he made part of the Constitution and Bill of Rights. So he was a busy boy, plus traveling to France as the ambassador. So big guy.
Yeah, big fan of electricity too.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about Thomas Jefferson earlier, writing the Rules of Impeachment. And in 1806, Thomas Jefferson's daughter, Martha, gave birth to James Madison Randolph, the first child born in the White House. And we need to look up how many kids were born in the White House, because they didn't rush you to the hospital, or, they had a midwife come in and, breathe and whatever.
I think that, if memory serves me right, the only other one was the Kennedy family, and the young boy died, for about 5 or 6 days after being born, but not in the White House.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm wondering. How many?
I don't think there was any. And this was the daughter, so it's an interesting thing. She was Martha Jefferson Randolph, but she was one of his favorite children. So she happened to be in the White House and not at Monticello where the other children were, because he had a great support of her, and she was 25. So
all right, that's why. Fun deal. Yeah, I guess the rest of them were too old. Well, they could have had daughters that came in I don't know. Maybe they thought the White House was just especially clean.
And new.
And new. Yeah, right.
And it was pretty new. White.
Yeah, right. All right, we got to go. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Don't go away. 24 minutes for the top of the hour. It's finally Friday, Shane. It's January 17th, 2020, 37 degrees outside. We're happy to be here on the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane, brought to you by the Club Tavern and Grill. And don't forget to check out the Club Tavern and Grill at the Best Western Grand Tree on North 7th, right across from Walmart. Tell them Tom and Shane sent you down, and they'll give you a free cocktail napkin, and they might even wipe the seat off for you. Who knows? Anyway, they're a nice place. So having lunch there today. As a matter of fact, I will be there at noon having lunch with some friends, the same people you met, Shane, when you were here. So pretty nice deal, huh? Yeah. All right, in 1893, guess what, Shane? Hawaii's monarchy was overthrown. How did that news get from Hawaii to the United States or any newspaper or anything?
Well, it wasn't
Who knew what Hawaii was doing in 1893?
Well, it was a sovereign kingdom, and this may be interesting to people. It's only one of 4 U.S. states: the Vermont Republic, 1791. Republic of Texas, 1845, and the California Republic of 1846. They were actually independent countries before they became states or territories and states of the U.S. Only Texas reserves the right under the agreement. They're the only one that reserve the right to secede from the Union if they chose to. So that's quite interesting. Anyway, the monarchy was overthrown in 1893. By, of course, American and European capitalists and landholders. And Hawaii became, was an independent republic at the time, and announced that independence in 1894 until August 12th, 1898. And then, of course, it was admitted as a state, August 21st, 1959, 49th state, because Alaska was the 50th state.
Yeah.
And they had established great things, and most of them came from the southern part of the Pacific. Archaeologists believe the Marquise Islands or Bora Bora. And they had their own a system of rules and guidelines called kapu. And it was an ancient Hawaiian code of conduct of laws and regulations. So it's not like they weren't a developed people. They were very well read and had a great written history. And regrettably, it was beautiful there. And as you know, the Americans stole the pineapple from the Polynesians and brought it back to Hawaii to grow, which made it impossible to let it not be part of the U.S. because Americans fell in love with pineapple.
Well, if you look at a map of the world, Hawaii's a speck. How the heck do these guys find Hawaii? Why, I mean, unless you're within maybe 10 miles of it on either side, you can't even see it. So would they look for the volcanoes erupting? Was that? Oh, look, smoke. Let's head over there. See what the heck that is.
Well, it does have, two an active volcano that's been active on and off for several hundred years, but. It was in the news a few years ago because it's on the Big Island, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can understand finding Australia, but finding Hawaii, come on. Something wrong with that. Well, also in 1893, Rutherford B. Hayes, the 19th President of the United States, died in Fremont, Ohio at the age of 70.
Yeah, and the only thing I want to mention about this is he was the most contentious election up until that time in your country in 1876 in the Electoral College. Mm-hmm. And Hayes won. He beat the Democrat Samuel J. Tyden by the electoral vote, and it was the most contentious election up until that time. And the interesting thing is that it resulted in the Compromise of 1877. And this was an unwritten deal that settled the intensely disputed 1876 U.S. presidential election this is great. What Hayes did is resulted in the federal government pulling the last troops and generals out of the South and formally ending Reconstruction era, which gave control back to the people of the states of the South. And unfortunately, that's when Jim Crow and the Democratic Party rose in the South to still persecute the African American. But the compromise was important because he got all the Southern members that were in the House that weren't at the time able to vote for him to win the vote in the House. So, one of those political games. It's been going on in your country for a long. Nothing new here, folks. Okay, this is not that historical. All right.
All right. From our text line 478-8298, Shane sounds like a pineapple racist. All right.
I'm talking about the history. I didn't know.
You
wow.
love pineapple, don't you? Yeah.
Oh, actually, I love Hawaii. I've been there a lot. So
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Call me what you want. I don't.
That's right. Don't call him late for supper.
That's it.
Regarding finding Hawaii, a good one, Tom. They ran into it in the middle of the night. Yes, they didn't see it coming, so they were smacked with it. So all right, so that'll work. We got to take another short break here, and we'll be right back. So stay tuned. 16 minutes before the top of the hour, it's finally Friday, January 17, 2020, 37 degrees outside. 37 now, we're looking for a high of 27, Shane.
Yeah,
that doesn't work.
Lucky you.
All right. Should start snowing anytime now if it isn't already. We're expecting 1 to 2 inches of snow this morning or throughout the day anyway. So if you're traveling, make sure you have a little extra time to get to where you're going. And we want everybody to reach their destination safe and sound. From our text line, 478-8298, staying with Hawaii. If you float around in the middle of the ocean long enough, I guess you're bound to run into something. So apparently so. All right. So we'll have to we'll have to keep track of that. So, well, you know, we float around here for 3 hours a morning. We always find something to talk about. Well, in 1899, used furniture dealer and gangster Al Capone was born in New York City. He was a used furniture dealer. That's how he made all his money.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, he was an honorable guy. Slashed as a kid in the face with a knife, and got the name Scarface. Moved to Chicago, set up the Chicago outfit. Went to prison at 33. Died at 48 of syphilis in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know pretty much the story because of Prohibition. He ran liquor through Chicago and took it over. And the mayor at the time, William Hale Thompson, loved the tens of thousands of dollars he paid him. So he basically really had police protection, and drew too much attention with the St. Valentine's Day Massacre because he was famous for wiping out anyone that competed with him.
Yep.
And as we all know, he didn't get caught for anything bad except his tax evasion. So how strange is that? And hopefully we'll see something like that happen because apparently they may still indict your favorite FBI guy
on tax evasion.
Yeah, hopefully something.
I don't know. I don't think any of these wackos are going to jail. They may get fines or they may get something, but I don't think anybody's going to see the Gray Bar Hotel anytime soon.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know. Anyway. 1945, Soviet and Polish forces liberated Warsaw during World War II. Wow, the Poles and the Soviets got together and liked each other then, but not later.
Well, and regrettably, Warsaw, because of where it's located, is probably one of the most, conquered cities in Eastern or Western Europe. But and this is after a virulent issue in the Germans' invasion and started World War II in 1939. So they withstood that siege. And then there was a Virtue military uprising, the Warsaw Ghetto uprising, the Warsaw uprising. I mean, they tried for 5 years to fight the Germans, but they were relieved and saved by, of all other people, the Russians, right? So
yeah.
There you go.
All right, from our text line regarding the snow coming, 478-8298, cloud cover is a telltale sign. I would say, yeah. You can look at the clouds. My wife always says, it looks like snow outside, and she's generally right about that. So. All right, let's see. Let's keep going. 1945, Swedish diplomat Raoul Wallenberg, credited with saving tens of thousands of Jews during the Holocaust, was taken into Soviet custody in Budapest, Hungary. His fate has never been determined.
Well, it may not have been determined, but we know he died into the hands.
Yeah, we're pretty sure that
the Soviet Secret Service, right?
Putin's great grandfather cut his throat or something. I don't know. Anyway,
it's just important to recognize someone that saw something wrong and figured out a way as best he could to save as many souls as he could. And so it's just one of those people that you're grateful he was born and served what he believed was his reason for being here. So it's genuinely a remarkable thing. It's actually hundreds of thousands that he did save, and he managed not just to save them by working, unfortunately, in slave labor, but also getting them out of the country, the ones that he could, the tens of thousands out of the country.
All right,
and survived it all. That's the remarkable thing is that he survived.
Yeah,
I mean, till the end of the war, right? I mean,
that would be the thing.
Unlike the 980 Jews on the St. Louis that FDR sent back to Germany and died in, prison camps. But anyway.
Regarding the text, cloud cover is a telltale sign. That was in regards to finding Hawaii. That you'd just look for the clouds over the islands, I guess. Right. I don't know. I want one of Nancy's pens. What a crazy expense. She's a real nut job.
Yeah, I was trying to take notice of the Penn situation yesterday, even before it became an issue. And I think the funny thing is, because twofold, I'm pretty sure they were Mont Blanc, which are German.
Yeah.
And then someone commented that the reason she delayed sending it over was she was waiting for them all, waiting for her pens because they were engraved with her name and the date on each pen.
Oh, jeez. Christ. From
Oh,
our,
what a
te-
joke.
from our text line, 478-8298, Big Kahuna, the only person I think is right as often as you and Shane are, but much more maligned is President Donald Trump. That's from Steve-O. So thanks, Steve-O, for that.
You can't argue with it. I mean, everything.
No, we're right more than we're wrong. So yeah.
No, but everything Trump has said in the last year has all come to pass. I mean, like everything they've attacked him for. I mean, gosh, can you imagine getting the USMCA done and the first phase of the treaty with China, a treaty with South Korea, Japan. Oh, and then the second, the treaties with Guatemala and the other Central American countries, like the one he has with Canada, second country treaty where their citizens can't come. If their citizens leave their country, go into Mexico and try to come to the United States, we can just send them back now because of those treaties. So
That's right.
he's done just guy. He's a problem solver. I love seeing this stuff.
All right, man. We got to take another break. We'll be right back following these important words. Stay tuned. 5 minutes before the top of the hour, it's Friday, January 17, 2020. Finally, Friday, 37 degrees outside. We're looking for 1 to 3 inches of snow today, so be careful out there if you're driving around. And it could be kind of slippery out there, so be careful. From our text line, 478-8298, did we pay for those pens? I doubt Nancy wrote a check for them, so I would say probably we paid for the engraving of those pens. I don't know that for sure, but maybe some of our listeners can do a search on Google or wherever and see if we can locate who paid for the pens. So,
well, I have a bit of knowledge about pens, and because I always bought a deal pen when I did one.
Yeah.
Having said that, there was easily those pens were easily $20,000 for the 24 pens she had that she gave away.
Wow. Yeah, they were weren't they silver or something? I don't know. They were pretty special.
They were gold. They
gold.
Were
yeah.
Onyx and pearl end and gold tipped
and engraved and all that. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. That's a.
So how soon do you have to order these to get them? Like a year ago?
Very good. I'd like to know, wouldn't you?
Yeah. When did the order go in? Inquiring minds want to know. Yeah.
Well, it would be funny if it went in around the time they passed it, and then she ordered the pens, and they said, "Well, it'll take 4 weeks to get to you because it's Christmas."
Yeah. So apparently Nancy knew she had the votes long before we had anything going on. So, or in case, what the hell? It's our money. It's just tax dollars. Who cares? We'll do we'll send them to a foreign country, like we do with the losing shirts from the Super Bowl, team shirts.
Well, I hope we're still laughing in February at the end of this, because if it doesn't, the world's going to come apart.
Well, that may be true. So,
well, it is. Yeah.
Well, to complicate matters, in 1946 on this date, the United Nations Security Council held its first meeting, and that, of course, is France, Germany, China, U.S., and who am I?
England.
Yeah, I'm leaving one out. Yeah, so.
Yeah, there are 5 permanent members on it.
Yeah.
The council consists of 15 members.
Mm-hmm.
Every 2 years, 10 are added. They're non-permanent members, and they're elected on a regional basis. Mm-hmm. And they serve a term of 2 years. But the interesting thing, and why very little gets done on this council, is that, you ready for this? The body's presidency rotates monthly among its members.
Nice.
Monthly.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, every month. The Security Council, 15 members, picks a new president of the council. Wow, isn't that just great?
Yeah.
What a way to get stuff done. You're here for 30 days. Go!
Yeah. From our text line, the order was placed the minute Trump got on the escalator.
Oh, yeah, right. Yes. Oh, really? She knew the date then?
She
Wow,
knew the date then, yeah. So let's go to the phones. 522 Talk is the number. Call you on the air. What's up?
If you look at President Trump versus Nancy Pelosi, it's just the contrast is amazing. President Trump speaks his mind. You know where he stands. He doesn't veil his speak in political talk and all that stuff. But Nancy Pelosi, you know, if you go back and listen to sound bites over the last year or two, you know, first she's saying, oh, she doesn't want to impeach the president. You know, she hasn't done anything that, you know, doesn't want to impeach. And then it goes to, oh, this is such a somber thing, and I pray for him, and we don't want to do this. But then when she's signing the articles, the smile is as big as Texas. I mean, it's just crazy. Such a contrast.
Yeah.
You know, he says his mind, you know where he stands. You don't have to worry about, what does he mean by that? You know?
Yeah.
And Pelosi, on the other hand, goes flip-flops, and it's just crazy.
Yeah. I got to go. Hey, thanks for the call. All right. From Four Corners to Ocean View, Hawaii this week, 4 a.m. here. Joel is listening to us in Hawaii right now. So we're talking to him. So or listening to us online, I should say. So
there you go.
Yeah. Coming up at 7:30, Cricket Farms is going to be here. They're the folks that make food out of crickets, ground up crickets. So we'll check with them when they come in at 7:30. And the county commissioners will pay us a visit at 8 o'clock. Geez. And we'll do some local stuff when we come back. So stay tuned for that. Hey, welcome back, everyone. It is 6 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock, Friday, January 17th. There are 37 degrees outside. We're looking for snow on the ground coming up shortly. And, well, I said the Cowboy Crickets were going to be here at 7:30, but they're here right now. So let's chat with them. What do you say, Shane? You like cricket?
Indeed, I'm hungry.
You like cricket food, don't you? All right.
Yeah,
sounds
we
good.
ate chocolate-covered ants as kids. We really did.
Yeah.
My mom and I in Canada. Yeah.
Well, the last time they were here, we had cricket cookies, and that was a fun time. James Rolin joins us from Cowboy Cricket Farms in Bozeman, and you've got a new location, do you not?
We do. Thank you for having me here today.
Yeah, sure. Happy to have you.
Yeah, we're opening up a new place right across the street from the new Story Mill Park here in Bozeman.
Okay.
And unlike the other facility, which is just commercial, this one's actually open to the public. So you can come in and learn all about edible insects, explore interactive exhibits, and then see the farm.
Yeah. Do you have more than just crickets? Because I think before you had mostly crickets, but you had some other things, I think, going on, or you were pioneering other forms of protein.
Yeah, we're always doing research into all sorts of things, specifically with different insects. But here we actually have a few different exhibits, including animals that eat bugs, and then also different edible insects from around the world. So tarantula, scorpion, cockroaches, and even a cute little hedgehog.
Okay. All right. There you go.
I want to know what crickets eat.
Yeah, what do crickets eat?
Basically just greens and grasses. In nature, they would just go around and scavenge whatever vegetation they could find.
Okay.
So they're vegetarian.
Generally, they'll go outside of that if necessary. They'll even cannibalize if you don't feed them. So feed your crickets.
Okay.
Feed your crickets.
Well, I think the last time you were in here, there's a process of growing them from larva, I guess, or beginning to when they're harvestable. How long does that take?
Takes about 7 weeks to go from a brand new hatched pinhead, which is a baby cricket, to an adult that can then breed or be harvested.
Okay, yeah. And you make flour is one of the primary things you make, right? That you could use as regular baking flour, just like with any other cookie or cake or things like that.
Absolutely. We dehydrate the crickets after they're frozen, and then we mill them into a fine powder. And that's what most people are using is the powder, or things like our chocolate trip cookies or our Cretaceous Crunchers, which we made with Museum of the Rockies.
Yeah. Are you going to have cookies at the new location?
Oh, of course. We're going to have a whole gift shop there. Yeah, you can come in and get the Cowboy Cricket Farm stuff, but also we have other edible insects that we don't make, and just other types of gifts. So you can come in, see the whole place and leave with a souvenir.
Yeah.
So what was the epiphany to raise crickets and feed them to the world?
The whole thing was my wife's idea. As usual, she has all the good thoughts, and I'm just here for the ride.
Right.
But really, it was because of the bug buffet at MSU, which is free and open to the public every February. So it's just about a month away now. And she went there, saw all the people that were super excited about edible insects, and brought the idea back to me. I thought it was a horrible, stupid idea, but I was wrong, as usual. Yeah. She was right. So 3 years later, here we are.
Yeah.
So what kind of growth are you enjoying in this industry?
It's been just extraordinary. This year, we just almost crested $500,000 in total sales. So it's growing quite a bit. 3 years ago, we barely did $5,000. So we went from running a major loss to actually being profitable now.
Yeah. So,
and does the internet sell your product for you worldwide?
Yes, we've shipped to 32 different countries as of last month. I think it's probably about the same right now. And
your website, give everyone your website.
Well, it's cowboycrickets.com.
Yeah.
There you go.
And on all the social media type places, you can find us at Cowboy Crickets. On Amazon, we sell all the products there as well. But of course, you can stop in at the Bozeman location after it opens on February 1st.
Yeah. Did you go on Amazon to get the equipment? Is cricket pulverizing machinery?
Yeah, we've had to invent almost all of our own processes.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Luckily, there's equipment out there that we found works well. So after a lot of experimentation, we ended up settling on a spice grinder. And so we use a big industrial spice grinder to mill them down.
Oh, okay. And the other thing I was wondering is where the investment startup funds come from.
We've done the super novel thing that most startups don't do. We've been funded by sales. So
wow,
yeah.
Holy smokes, that's a what's wrong with you? You're
Right?
supposed to go out and borrow money. Come on.
Yeah. Well, we're
So you literally started in your kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. I mean, we couldn't sell the stuff in our kitchen, but that's where we started experimenting.
Yeah.
And we definitely started at home with the farming, and eventually we're able to find a space. We have brought on a little bit of investment, about $50,000. And we've been very, very fortunate to have a lot of grants come our way, which is a tremendous amount of work to apply and maintain. But
yeah, those are really complicated because, they want you to jump through all these hoops and everything. And obviously, I would think a lot of people would be interested in this because it's another source of food that we don't normally think of. And when you're feeding the multitudes of the world, obviously, any new source of food is probably welcomed, whether in this country or, people listening to us right now saying there's no way in hell I'm going to eat a cricket, but if you try their cookies, you will.
Well, imagine the FDA didn't know what to say to you when you went to them about it, right?
Oh, they have no idea what to do with us. Yeah. We've been very fortunate to have a lot of support from the state Department of Ag and Health Department. We're registered with the FDA, but there's no actual regulations on our industry.
Yeah.
So we've had to create those internal, controls.
Yeah.
It's been interesting. There's zero reference for us to fall back on.
Yeah.
And what part of food consumption in Asia are insects? It's a large part, isn't it?
Well, I don't know how much in Asia specifically, but around the world, about 80% of cultures eat insects in some form or another. Really,
Wow.
we're the weird ones out here not doing it. Except for that, we actually are. If you've ever had anything with red dye 40, so say red Skittles, that's made from a type of beetle shell. If you've ever had broccoli, that's got mites in it. Everything that you eat has a certain amount of allowable insects in it. So you're eating them anyways. It's just not on the label.
Yeah. The nutrition labeling that we do on all our foods, it's got the fat and the carbs and all that stuff. How do you come up with those measurements when you're talking about a food that's never been or seldom hasn't been under those guidelines at least?
Sure. So we still follow all the same labeling regulations as any other food product. And how we actually come about those numbers, there's two ways. You can either do database verification, or you can actually send it out to a lab. So our base products we send out to a lab. They tell us what the crickets are for each one of those contents. And then the rest of it we do by database, since we already know the nutrition for every other ingredient.
Yeah. If you're just joining us, we're talking with James Rolin, Cowboy Cricket Farms. Cowboycricket.com is the website if you want to go over and check it out. They take crickets and produce food substances with them, flour and other products. So we were talking about, or we started talking about other insects. One of the things, I guess, that we have to talk about, obviously, is the cost of that 7 weeks. Before you can harvest. It's sort of like the farmers, watching the corn grow. And so when you look at other types of insects, other types of animals, are you going to need new equipment, different equipment? Are you looking for types of animals or insects rather, that you could use your existing equipment with?
When you're looking to transition from some form of farming or start a new farm, the equipment that you need really isn't all that crazy specialized. It's basically a big heated room and a bunch of bins or boxes to put the crickets in. So really low-tech stuff. We are working on automation systems that will be highly specialized and reduce labor, but you don't really need them. It just decreases your costs. And it is very expensive right now per pound to grow crickets.
I was going to say, yeah, it's probably because you need an awful lot of them to produce the pound. But are there other insects you're looking at?
So we're going to focus mostly on crickets for a while, but we do experiment with mealworms. We're going to have some specials where people can come in and maybe try some other more exotic ones. You can buy scorpions at our place, tiny little edible scorpions. They're already cooked and everything. But as far as our actual commercial endeavors, it's just crickets.
Crickets for the time being.
Yeah, okay. That's enough work as it is.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Tell us how staffing is going for you. How big of a staff, and are you finding it difficult for people to work with for you?
It has been pretty difficult to find people to work in this kind of environment. We run a bit of a haphazard crew, and we're really happy with the folks that we have on board right now. Our graphic designer, Cree, and our farm manager, Kyrie, are doing a really, really good job getting this whole place underway while Kathy and I take care of more of the admin stuff. But yeah, it's been a heck of a time trying to find people. Bozeman, it's
expensive to live here, and you got to pay a reasonable salary to get somebody to come out there and spend time with you.
It's a competitive job market here.
Yeah. So, we great to have you in. Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. I brought you a cookie. I wanted to bring in some crunchers that we made with the Museum of the Rockies, but
we got to try this. So.
They keep selling out. Those crunchers have just been doing it crazy good. We're actually back ordered right now. So
okay, let's see. So I got 250 calories in this cookie. And got a little fat in it. The carbs are 28.
Well, I mean, it is a cookie. There's sugar and butter.
There's sugar and everything else in there. But hey, 10% protein. So that's certainly worth it. What do you think, Shane?
Help yourself, Tom.
Oh well. All right. I'm crushing on the air.
I see that. Yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming in again. I shouldn't be talking with my mouth full.
You think we can tell?
Yeah. James Rolin, Cowboy Cricket, Cowboy Cricket Farms. Cowboycricket.com is the website. And where's your new location going to be?
It's 703 Bridger, so it's right next to Ghost Town Coffee, across the street from the new Story Mill Park.
All right. All right. Thanks for coming in, man. I appreciate it. Good to see you again.
Yeah.
You're an advertiser, I believe, with us, are you not?
Yes. Yeah. We've got some stuff going on right now on 2 of the channels.
Yeah. Okay. Just for full disclosure.
Yeah. that's true. I think we set this up outside of that. But
yeah. No, we did. I know. But hey, we're glad to have you in. Thanks for coming back again, and thanks for bringing me a treat.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you very much, and we're always in the corner of entrepreneurs. So.
Well, thank you so much. We're happy to be here with fellow veterans and supporting you guys as well.
All right. Take care. All right. We'll be right back with more right after this. Stay tuned. 21 minutes after the hour. That's a darn good cookie, Shane. I've got to tell you, man, this thing is great. It's a big cookie too. It's not a it's not an Oreo. It's full size.
It's full size cookie.
It's not a fun size cookie. It doesn't say on the label what the percentage of cricket is in it, but it's still pretty darn good. So
of course it is. Yeah.
Yeah. They were in before we. I think we did some video of me trying the cricket cookie for the first time. It was pretty good then. It's still good now. So we hope everybody will frequent them. The other thing that we've got to do is, of course, we've got to talk about the Club Tavern and Grill. They're voted Bozeman's Choice Best Happy Hour. The Club Tavern and Grill offers happy hour specials every day of the week as one of Bozeman's most popular happy hour spots and sports bars. You'll be sure to find something you'll love on their extensive drink and food menu. They also serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and kid-friendly menus also available. So check out the Club Tavern and Grill at the Best Western Grand Tree on North 7th across from Walmart. Tell them Tom and Shane sent you down. And,
that's right.
Yeah, they'll do good stuff for you. So, all right. Let's see. I
want everyone to know that now you want to go there on Fridays at lunch because Tom is sitting there and he will sign autographs. Now that he's got the best voice on radio.
That's right. Yeah.
This is serious now, okay?
No, I'll tell people, get lost, I'm eating. I would never
Have a cookie.
I would never do that. Yeah, I'm already spoiling my lunch appetite with a cricket cookie, but it's really good. It really is. I'm not saying that just because, we had them on and they're a sponsor. They're really good cookies. I'm telling you, this is pretty good stuff. So let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Calling you on the air. What's up?
Well, I used to work with a guy, and he was originally born in Vietnam. And so to tell you off, he turned me on to deep-fried crickets.
Oh, yeah.
And grasshoppers, too.
Yeah.
Way back in, a couple decades ago. And, you got to look at it this way. If it ain't killed someone else, probably edible.
Yeah.
So the mind is the barrier.
Yeah.
That's the number one deal.
That's true. And,
until you try something, you'll never know if you like it or not. I still have a problem with I will never eat liver again. But okay. So it's
not going to be my last meal on death row. Won't be liver and onions. No.
I've eaten food from all different parts of the world.
Yeah.
And some of it, unless you told me what it was, I'm like, oh, that's pretty damn good. It's like, Then I find out what it was, like, oh, okay. But it didn't kill me.
Yeah.
And it was really
it didn't kill me. That's right.
Yeah. So go out and eat a good duck or good beef and tell me it's roast beef one day, okay?
All right. We'll do that.
Let you guys go by.
All right. See you later. All right. Yeah. That's a good idea. Let's see, from our text line, 478-8298. Crickets, no thank you. Well, if I didn't tell you crickets were in it, you'd love this cookie, I'll tell you. So, it's pretty darn good. So, where to buy locally? Well, they've got their new place coming in that he mentioned earlier. I should have written down where it was, but I didn't. Across from Story Mill, I think, something like that. So, yeah. And Tom, your opinion, what's a reasonable salary to live in Bozeman? Wow, that's a tough one because,
$75,000 a year.
Well, I would say if you're not in the, at least either a family or by yourself, you could probably get by on 40, maybe.
Living at home.
Well, maybe. I mean, you could certainly get an apartment with someone else. You can share an apartment, but otherwise, you're. It'd be tough. For a family, you'd probably need 60, maybe. Something in that neighborhood, 60, 65.
That's right.
Yeah, if you could each bring home 30 apiece somehow, that would that's minimum wage at $15 an hour is something like $30,000 a year. So if two of you working at $15 an hour, you could bring home 60, and you could probably live modestly in Bozeman.
Yes, comfortably, modest lifestyle.
Yeah, you're not going to have a mansion on Nob Hill, but
Nob Hill.
you could be you could probably afford a home.
Did you just say Nob Hill?
Nob
really?
Hill, yeah. Well, we've got our own Nob Hill here in Bozeman. We got the starter castles up on Haggerty and what is it, Kagi, I guess. So
yeah, the McMansions, as they're commonly known, right?
Highland, not Haggerty, Highland. Yeah. Let's go to the phones. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you on the air. What's up?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey.
The cricket guy. We took our grandkids for a tour over there. 3 of our younger grandkids, and it was really great. We each got a cookie when we left the place, and they, like you said, they were really good.
Yeah, they are good.
Yeah. Speaking of eating insects, when I was a kid back in the Midwest outside of Chicago, there was this ant he was pretty big. He was red and black. His head and kind of the body part was red, and then the tail end was black. And we used to eat those guys, and they tasted like mints. And I don't know how we ever figured out that. Yeah, whatever. And we found out that it tasted better when we only bit off the red part. So
okay.
the body we ate the body and the head part, not the black tail end part.
Okay. There you go.
Talking about eating insects.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen one of those ants lately. So out here in Montana, maybe if I go back to the Midwest, I'll give them a try again.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for the call.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good morning. All right. Yeah. One of the things they taught us in Vietnam about, if there's stuff swimming in the water, it's probably safe to drink, otherwise, or don't eat berries that are sour tasting or bitter tasting, obviously. So,
right.
For in our survival training, Oh, let's see. Dead or alive? Well, I'm looking at the cookie's not moving. I put it down. It's sitting right where it is. So I guess
that's a comforting thought.
Yeah, I don't know if they're torched or boiled or what they are, but anyway, I think they're frozen and then they grind them up. So I think that's what happens to them. So it's a sort of a humane death, I guess. They just got to go to sleep and die. So anyway. Another fun fact on the morning show that you don't get on any of the other stations. God. All right. But cowboycrickets.com, I check it out. You can find their locations over there. Just go to cowboycrickets.com. And we thank James for coming in and chatting with us. And we'll be back. We got news at the bottom of the hour. Montana State News, Fox News. Brooke Foster's back with the weather. And it's going to snow, so be careful out there. We'll be right back. 24 minutes before the top of the hour, Friday, January 17, 2020. I'm just finishing my cookie there. The thing is really good. All right, caller on the phone. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you on the air. What's up?
Sir, can Peterson talk to Eaglehoff?
Yeah. What's up?
Yeah, well, we'll try a different way of approaching things.
All right.
Of me opening up, insulting you or something. Now, we're the same age, give 6 months. You're the older one.
I am the older one, so.
We have a lot in common. There is one thing that could be a strain. Like I was telling you that the same time that you were joining the Vietnam War, I was protesting the Vietnam War.
Mm-hmm.
And since I'm not a silent Sam, I got arrested for protesting it. But as Allen Ginsberg, the poet, would say, protest means for testimony. So at least the people I was around were just testifying in public that we're displeased by something. and there's nothing wrong with challenging a system legally. Now, in those days, I just had a bunch of normal people around me, Bob Gross, Ron Garrow. In fact, Bob Meyer did join Vietnam the same time I, since kind of an oddball, was writing poetry about it. One of the poems said, should I nurture the jungle floor with rich American boy blood? And he liked that poem so much, once he enlisted, he said he read it or he memorized it, which is a compliment, that recited it in mess halls and among his group. So it wasn't though I had any chip on my shoulder about the people that were going there. I just felt what I had to do. So
why did you protest the war? Just curious.
Well, even then, being a clean Christian, killing is not the answer. Thou shalt not kill. So I soon found like-minded people when I went to college. In your Illinois town, was everybody around you gung-ho? Did you go right from high school among the gung-ho pro-Vietnam people right to fight for?
No, I didn't. I ran out of money for college in my third year and was drafted.
Daniel, how many other wars have you protested?
Everyone I can get my hands on. I was one of the guys that Tom saw in front of the
courthouse
most Saturdays.
Why did you stop protesting when Obama was elected? Because you were gone once he was elected.
Yeah, that's more or less true, but the others stopped doing it. They had brought the signs. So
well, I mean, if you're against killing people, it doesn't really matter who the president was, would it?
No, I voted for Obama in the primaries, but I couldn't quite bring myself to vote for him in the finals. It just happened that Ron Paul was on this ballot as he shifted over to Constitution Party here,
yeah.
So I ended up voting for Ron Paul.
Yeah. The other thing, I guess, we're in the Middle East because of, we didn't just wake up one morning and said, hey, let's go to Iraq, let's go to Kuwait, let's go to Afghanistan. All of that, the reason that we're there was a result of someone killing us, not us going over and killing them.
There's a little difference between killing a handful of people and trashing a nation.
Well, I wouldn't call killing 3,800 people in the Twin Towers as a small amount of people, plus some in the Pentagon and also in the plane that crashed in Pennsylvania. But that aside, most of the killing in the Middle East was done by the people in the Middle East. We were there more for support than anything else. Now, we lost, if you want a contrast between Vietnam losing over 50,000 people, and I think we haven't yet lost 5,000 in 17 years in the Middle East. So,
Well, there's the rub. 54,000 didn't die in Vietnam. It was
58
millions.
Sure.
People.
Well, and when we left,
Vietnam, South and North soldiers are people.
They were people who came down and after we left killed 3 million Vietnamese.
Yeah, and traumatized the children.
12 million people died under communist rule. You know that.
Yeah. So
Well, yeah. But that's.
But see, those are the people. Those are the
different-
people that I think you should have been protesting. Was the people in the North who attacked the South. We defended them because they were an ally of ours, and the Congress abandoned them. When we left, we were supposed to supply them with the arms and things that they needed. Congress reneged on that promise, and the North came down and took over the South, killed 3 million people, and and they're still the only one of 2 or 3 communist nations on Earth, Shane.
That's right. And then they supported the Khmer Rouge that killed another 8 million in Cambodia.
Yeah. So. All right.
Yeah, they love us. People are like the old soldiers are going back, and they say, "Man, it's amazing. The Vietnamese are welcoming us with open arms. Doesn't matter what their philosophy is.
Yeah.
They're loving people."
Yeah. All right. I got to go. Thanks for the call.
All right. I got to thank you.
All right, man. Take it easy. All right. Let's see here. Where am I on my time here? I got to take another break. We'll be right back. 14 minutes for the top of the hour. It's finally Friday. It's January 17th, 2020, 36 degrees outside. Shane Matavin, half man, half amazing's on the line with me in Vancouver, British Columbia, covered in snow, 4 feet of snow in Vancouver. When's the last time you got 4 feet of snow?
Not even close. 3 years ago, we had snow in November that lasted in March, but it was only about 2 feet.
Yeah. Wow.
But,
well,
our neighbor was out last night, and he asked if I knew the number to Thornburg, but I thought I didn't. I'm sorry. I don't have to.
Yeah. Somebody asked about what it costs to live in Bozeman. What salary do you need? Well, I looked up, there's a living wage calculator, livingwage.mit.edu.
So how close were we?
Well, I can't agree with this one at all. It claims that a living wage in Gallatin County, now the county's obviously not in Bozeman per se, but they claim a living wage in Bozeman with no children, a single person, one adult, you got to make $11.86 to live in Bozeman or to live in Gallatin County. And wow. I don't believe that's anywhere close. If you got one child, $25 an hour, 2 children, $30 an hour, 3 children, $40 an hour to live in Gallatin County. The poverty rate, if you have 3 children, is $12 an hour. And the minimum wage just went up, I think, to $8.65. I think it did. I think
yes.
It's $8.65. Went up January. So
yeah, we covered that.
Yeah. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you on the air. What's up?
Good morning.
Hey.
Hey, 2 things. First of all, we made it another week. Joy, joy, happy, happy.
We did. Yeah.
Joy. I like that. Joy, happy, happy.
Every week's a gift to me.
Yeah, every day's a gift to me.
That's true, yeah.
I just want to ask you, Tom, do you remember this term from the service? I am so short, I need a ladder to crawl out of my boots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
That means you don't have much time left in country.
Right. In country.
Yep.
Or time on the job.
On the job, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And
You're a short timer. And that was when I
would never say that again.
Yeah. That was when I was most scared in Vietnam, when I had less than 30 days to go. And I thought, geez, am I going to make it through this? Because, there were people that got killed in our group that had 30 days or less left. And, it just, I never got off my knees the last month,
I'd be hugging the ground all the way out to the airport.
I tell you, man, I was trying to find a way to bulletproof my tent, How can I do this?
I just wanted to say another thing is that you guys have a wonderful Friday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll be listening.
All right. Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks very much. Let's take another call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, thanks for waiting. You're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
This is Clint.
Hey, Clint, how are you?
The great one. Good morning, good sir.
Good morning, Shane. Well, I got a sad story to tell this morning.
All right.
Yesterday, I went over to my mine over in Madison County, and I was going to run some concentrate that I had done a year ago. And I got to messing around there, and I seen this shed I got, and it had a place where it was open, and I used oil from the machines in it, in barrels.
Mm-hmm.
And I went over there, and there was a piece of this laying out, a piece of old seat cushion laying out. I'd throw it in there, and I thought they'd be all right for one of the machines you could sit on it, Well, anyways, just tore all to hell.
Oh, no.
These cushions were. And so I went over to pick up one and throw it back or part of one, and throw it back in this old shed so I could haul them to dump. And guess what I seen?
A bear.
No.
Mountain lion.
I seen a dog.
Oh, okay.
A dog laying in the corner.
Yeah.
Made a sound, and it was skin and bones.
Oh, wow. Ouch.
And I looked at the dog, and the dog looked at me. And I felt so sorry for the dog. Tom?
Yeah?
It's the first time in my life tears really came to my eyes over an animal.
Yeah? Wow.
And when I seen that dog, and the dog seen me, I went to the lab, and I had some stuff for my dog, Daisy.
Yeah.
And I got some T-bones and some dog food and stuff.
Yeah.
Took it down and give it to the dog. The dog couldn't get up, Tom.
Yeah, to eat it? Yeah.
Yeah, he ate it. I gave him a few minutes, and finally, I went up in the shed. I had a hole in it there, and I went up in the shed, and I put a little leash around that dog's neck, and I finally got him up.
Yeah.
And he came, and I got him over to the pickup, and he knew right away to get in, and he laid his paws up on the back seat. It's a 4-door pickup, and the seats are down,
Yeah.
And anyway, he put his paws up on the top, and to get in, and he couldn't get in, and I started to cry, Tom.
Yeah,
and
I know, yeah.
I picked the dog up and put him in, and so this morning he's going to the veterinarian, and whatever the veterinarian needs to do to him, he's going to do.
Yeah. Well, you got to take him didn't you take him to the heart of the valley? I mean, that would...
No,
I mean, they've got a vet there, obviously, that...
Valley, and there's my granddaughter works down here at Hardaway.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Hardaway's a good place, yeah.
And so I'm going to take the dog down there, and my son made arrangements to know I'm coming, but I got to come right after your show.
Yeah, okay.
And we're going to take care of the dog. But
well, good for you. That's a good thing to do because
that's a good Friday story. That's a wonderful Friday story.
Have you ever had anything like that happen to you, where you actually brought tears to your eyes? I'm 85, and I couldn't believe that my eyes started to water.
Yeah. No, I think the same thing would have happened to me had I seen that because I tell you, Clint, I turn off the SPCA commercials when they show those dogs shivering and they're out in pens and they're out and chained up and stuff. I can't watch it. I
I can't either. And by the way, I'll get off the air, but what you would and what's his name was talking about the people that he was praying that you'd leave Vietnam.
Oh yeah.
Well, I was praying that I could get out of Korea.
Out of Korea too, yeah, that's for sure. All right, man.
Been there, done that, and people in this country better be damn well appreciate America and what this country's done for other nations.
Amen.
So that's all I got to say.
All right, thanks, man. All right,
Thank you for your service, Clint.
We got to take another quick break. We'll be right back. 3 minutes before the top of the hour, I want to remind you that Livingston is in the running to get $500,000 for a city makeover. This is not tax dollars, folks. If you remember, there was a television show, Extreme Makeover, with Ty Pennington and people like that did this. Well, this is Ty Pennington again, and what they do is Livingston is in a running with four other cities. And they are going to get $500,000 if they get the most votes for some of the businesses in Livingston to get a makeover, those who want to get one, I guess. And so you can vote at smallbusinessrevolution.org, smallbusinessrevolution.org. And Livingston is up against a small town in California, one in Oregon, and one in New York, and one, I think, in somewhere in the Midwest. But these are all states with big populations and probably lots of voters. So it's very important. You could vote once a day. Go to smallbusinessrevolution.org. And this is a web TV type show that they do. And but Livingston, boy, that would be a nice addition to Livingston to have some business owners over there. Maybe get some makeovers of their business, new paint job, and some, whatever's needed, I guess, or wanted. And so we hope you will go over and vote. Smallbusinessrevolution.org. You vote once a day. So get over there and let's support the folks over here in Livingston, and let's get that money to them. And as I say, this isn't tax dollars. It's not something that's coming from the Montana legislature. This is from a private TV entity show. So nothing out of your pocket. So get over there to smallbusinessrevolution.org and check it out. So, all right, that does it.
All right.
We got the county.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. We got the county commissioners coming in here shortly. Also on Saturday, February 15th, that'll be the day after Valentine's Day at 7 p.m. at the Grand Tree. They're going to have the Bozeman Magazine Awards banquet. And I'm going to try to be there. Well, I will be there because it's on a Saturday. I don't have to.
Of course you're going to be there. You got an award to pick up.
Yeah, got to be there. Okay.
I'm going to be there. No, yeah, right.
So between now and then, we might have some tickets to give away to that. So we'll see if we can get some VIP tickets from Bozeman Magazine, and you can get over there and hobnob with the winners of the Bozeman Magazine contest. So. All right, as I say, we got county commissioners due in here shortly, and we'll take a crack at finishing up the local stuff at 7 or 8:30 if we can, and depending on what all you guys want to talk about. So we got snow coming this morning, 1 to 3 inches is predicted, so be careful out there if you're traveling and you're running into snow. We want everybody to get there safely and soundly. And we'll be right back with the county commissioners following the news at the top of the hour. 6 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock, it's Friday, January 17th, 2020, 36 degrees outside, snow on the way. Shane Mattalman, half man, half amazing, is on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. And this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane, the award-winning, I might add.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
We're
right.
big stuff now. We're big time.
We are big time. All right, Joe Skinner's in the house and county commissioner for a few years and has brought a guest. Why don't you tell us who you brought in?
Sure. Thanks for having us today.
Sure.
And it's a privilege for me today to introduce our guest. I think a lot of you probably know Captain Jason Jarret, recently retired, but everybody pretty much knows him as JJ, and he pretty much knows everybody in the county anyway. He's come in contact some way or another, so I think a lot of people know him. But today, he's recently retired, about a month, I think, or
Correct.
less.
Yeah.
But he's been the administrator at our detention center for the last several years, and I invited him here today to talk about that. I know that probably a detention center or a jail isn't something you would normally think of that you're proud of, but I think the citizens in this county need to know that we have a jail over there that's run very well, and some things going over there that we really need to be proud of, and we can be proud of. And I asked Captain Jarret today to talk about some of those things with us.
All right. Yeah. Welcome. I'm excited that I haven't met you in your professional your professional capacity. So
Everybody is
I'm
welcome.
excited you don't know me.
Yeah, we're surprised.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Well, I'm just lucky. That's all. Well, thanks for coming. Tell the detention center goes way back. I've been here 27 years, and I know we went through several votes on this. We went through all kinds of things to get the detention center going. And can you give us maybe a timeline of your experience there, maybe?
There was a log building next to the courthouse on Main in 18.
Yeah, right.
And then we built a new jail in the now the museum, the county museum. And then we built what we affectionately called the dog kennels at the current location. And about 7 years ago, the community, and with some pretty forward-thinking commissioners and sheriffs, got serious about building a facility that actually is functional. And that's the other part about it, is unless you're pretty clever about how you build something like that, it turns into being non-functional, and you end up just getting what you paid for. The engineering in this place is really cool. It turned out to be on time, on budget, all those things. And I've been in government for 40 years pretty much, and I've never seen a project go so well and actually be as functional, especially when the government does it, as this one. And the whole point of that being is that you can't outperform the engineering. If you don't engineer it right and you don't know what you want to do in a detention center or a jail, then you end up with a dog kennel. And unfortunately, as much as we'd like to believe it, and remember that I'm from Eastern Montana. My family's been in this state forever. I don't like inmates. They make me angry because they've done screwy things. And so there's a little bit of a piece of there about, well, they should go someplace that's awful. But it turns out that in our country's history, the last several hundred years, we've tried the punishing our way to paradise. And the only thing that really upsets a conservative Montana ranch kid more than not holding people accountable is trying to do something over and over again that just doesn't work. We end up with the same people back in the same place with the same problems. And at some point you shake your head and say, why are we doing this? There's got to be a better way to do this. And the commissioners at the time, Commissioner White, Commissioner Skinner, Sheriff Cashel, Sheriff Kukin, said there is a better way to do this because this is just silly. It's a really expensive piece of the community. I don't know anything in a county anyway that is more expensive. It's the biggest piece of infrastructure.
Yeah, you do 3 meals a day. You provide clothing. You heat, lights.
24-hour shift.
24-hour personnel. Yeah, it's pretty expensive.
It's also
almost hospital expensive.
It's more than hospital expensive. It's more expensive than hospital because of the security.
Yeah.
So per square foot, I think it's the most expensive building you can build.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure of it.
It's a huge investment by the community. So you can do that right, or you can not do it right, and you get different outcomes, it turns out. And the bottom line was that when you build it right, and you staff it right, and you train the people right, the national recidivism rate, the number of times people come back through the door, the revolving door thing, is 50, 60%. And if you actually treat that in a way that these guys decided to do that, the commissioners and the sheriffs, we're down to 8 and 11% recidivism.
Yeah. For the people who haven't had the pleasure of visiting with you, are the inmates monitored at the detention center? How is the thing laid out, and how many people does it take to watch however many people are in there at any given time?
Fortunately, the engineering helps us out again. This is a direct observation and direct supervision facility. That's a fancy term for saying that we don't leave them alone. Because when you leave them alone, just like when the substitute teacher walks out of your classroom in high school, these are people that have proven they don't manage themselves very well. All right. Yeah. And so the whole objective is it's a behavior-based facility. The training, the philosophy inside the facility is if you screw up, there's immediate consequence. If you do good, life gets pretty good there for you.
Yeah. It's amazing with direct detention. You can have, what is iPod, about 60, 40?
63.
63 people in one pod, and there can be of men, and you can have a female detention officer in there with that group of people, and she's in there and she's in control. And it's hard to imagine, but I've been over there a number of times, and it works wonderfully. So it's just a different way of managing people, and JJ's has a whole philosophy about managing people that he might want to talk about.
Yeah. Well, you made the point of it. It should be uncomfortable to be there because you don't want to go back.
Being in jail sucks.
Yeah, that's
how we treat you there, though. We could either make it so that we give you the stuff you need to not come back,
right? Yeah,
or we can just treat you like dirt. And we've known that's kind of the way the world works, because most people would like people to be punished. Damn it.
Yeah. Well, we've heard about, young people go to prison and they're educated on, how to commit crimes and how to go out and do drugs, or how to, it's like going to school, I guess, for criminals.
Right. And I'll reiterate, being in jail sucks. I mean, we own you. We own when you get toilet paper, when you eat, all those sorts of things. Losing your liberty is a big deal.
Yeah, it really is.
But we take the opportunity while they're there. Probably the most important part is our officers, the men and women in the detention center that just take the time, because they actually have contact with the inmates. That's the direct supervision.
And they treat the inmates with respect.
Yeah, we treat, it's golden rule stuff.
Yeah.
And if we model normal adult behavior all day and expect normal adult behavior out of the inmates, turns out that's what we get. And there's places where if you can't manage yourself in jail, you end up in jail within a jail, and that we can manage that. But it's not this doesn't happen very much. And it is just like all the books told you and your mother told you, that when you behave, good things happen, and when you don't behave, you get immediate consequence. It's sad, but it actually works. Really kind of basic kind of stuff.
Are the inmates separated by offense? Are violent people separated from, say, the guy who got a DUI or something? Or
there's a whole sophisticated classification system, and you get that when you come in the door. Let's go back to kind of the basics here. This number shocked me. 450 people a month go through that jail.
Wow.
There's 450 people getting arrested. That's
1% of the population.
Yeah.
Okay. And you question whether or not we need a jail. The vast majority.
And you said you've never met him, Tom.
Yeah, I have.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not in the 1% yet again.
Yet again. Lucky you! Yay!
And it's a function of a big, growing, active community. The vast majority of those folks never see the inside of our housing pods. They come into booking. It's kind of the adult timeout facility in the community. Yeah. And when you have a college town and when you have a young population, there's a lot of people that screw up. All right. And that's a consequence. Sometimes you go to adult timeout. And most of those people get bonded out. They stay in booking. They sober up a little bit, and mom comes and bonds them out, or boyfriend does, and they go on their way. But the other 200 that are in there can't get out or have serious crimes and those sorts of things. And they get classified. And you earn your way through classification. And some of the most heinous people actually have fairly low classifications because they manage themselves very well in jail.
I was going to say, if you obey the rules and everything, that is probably going to get you further than...
Yeah, you can actually have a guy on a murder charge that's in iPod, which is our lowest classification, right?
Correct.
It's all based on their behavior.
Yeah.
And if you can manage yourself, and that's kind of that's the start of the lesson as you walk through the jail at the Gallatin County facility there, is that if you can manage yourself, then life's pretty good for you. You get time out, you get all those sorts of things. And then here's kind of the next piece, and Joe and I have laughed about this. In the captain's brochure for the sheriff's office, when I promoted years ago and came out of detectives and patrol and all those places, they never mentioned in the brochure about running a hospital, a restaurant, a hotel, a psych ward. So there was a lot of things to understand, because whether or not we like it or think it's right or not, we own them. When they go to jail, the community owns those people. We've removed their freedom, we've removed their liberty, and so we own every aspect of their life.
All right. We got to take a short break here. If you're just joining us, we're talking with Joe Skinner, Commissioner, County Commissioner, and retired Captain Jason Jarret of
Jason Jarret.
Or Jason Jarret, sorry. Look like I need my glasses. Jason Jarret is with us, ran the detention center. We come back, we want to talk about some advancements you're making at the detention center when we come back. So we'll be right back after that. Jay, we got a caller waiting if you want to chat with them, and we'll be right back right after this. All right, welcome back, everyone. 21 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock, we're talking with Joe Skinner and Captain Jason Jarret, and we've got a caller waiting on the line that Shane has determined is worthy of airtime, so we will we'll see what they have to say. Caller, you're on the air with Joe Skinner and Captain Jason Jarret.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
I just wanted to say, you guys are awesome, and, a lot of people don't understand, JJ, the detention center is a huge part of our community in more ways than just keeping criminals off the street.
Oh, you said it perfectly. It's a critical piece of infrastructure that if it doesn't work right, it's kind of, let me say this graphically. It's like a sewer system that doesn't treat the waste. And so it ends up pushing it back out as affluent, where we have a chance to do some treat in there and put stuff back out into the community that creates wealth instead of sucking wealth.
Absolutely. And just, from the viewpoint of people that are in the detention center, employees and such, you guys are fantastic for each other. I won't get into any details, but with an incident that happened last week with a certain employee that I am very much involved with, the employees at the detention center have done everything in their power to make sure that she's doing well and that everything goes smoothly. And I just wanted to thank you guys for how much you do for that.
I appreciate that. That's a particular culture of the sheriff's office and public safety in general. There's very few jobs out there where you count on your workmate for life and death every day. And so it creates a little bit more of a family thing than most jobs do. And we're very proud of that. And we do consider ourselves family. And we also understand that the philosophy for us has always been that our guys can't do any better for the community than we do for them. And if we have to be empathetic and supportive and all those sorts of things to our employees for them to be able in turn do that for the community. And it turns out that it works.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And, being able to be a part of that is really huge. And I wanted to congratulate you on your wonderful tenure and wish you a happy retirement.
Thank you very much. About the only thing I've seen different now is there's naps in my schedule.
Yeah.
I like that. I like naps.
Retirement is great. Absolutely. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it. All right. I guess the other thing, before we get to the changes that you guys are making, the mental health issue came up, obviously, and
drug issue.
That and I guess what's available to the inmate who has mental issues or drug issues, or I know obviously you take care of them if there's a medical need. If they're injured or something like that.
Yeah, we don't have a choice, actually.
Yeah, no, you don't. Yeah,
the law says we have to.
Yeah, you got to treat them.
Yeah, regardless of what you think, we don't have a choice. So here's my mother when I first got this job. She's a 95-year-old Eastern Montana ranch woman. And she looked at me when we were talking about the number of mental health people that are in that place. And she said, well, Jason, don't you have to be crazy to get thrown in jail? I mean, who in their right mind would end up in jail? And I had to stop and look at my 94-year-old Scottish mother and say, Mom, you're right on. 85% of the people in housing have diagnosable mental health issues, typically coupled with an addiction or substance abuse addiction issue. And so it's it's the reason you end up there is because you can't manage, or you have something that has tipped you out of norms with society, right? Whether that's your upbringing or your addiction or just who you ended up hanging out with. There's an awful lot of people in there that are screw ups, but there's an awful lot of people in there, like the vast majority, that are significantly ill and that's how they end up there. And our society doesn't manage that very well. We're pretty good about understanding medical, but the more you talk to the medical profession, the mental health piece is very medical. It's neurons and electronic impulses that they just haven't really figured out. It's pretty messy.
Well, and I know Joe's been very active in the drug court, obviously, for many years. Are you seeing one of the words we wanted to talk about, recidivism?
Recidivism.
Yeah, recidivism.
Revolving door. How many times you end up coming back?
Come back?
Yep.
Have you seen a lot of that from drug court? Are there a lot of returns to the system?
Not that much. There are some.
Yeah.
People fail, and I don't want to talk too much about drug court. We can do that another time. But
sure.
I think the thing with drug court and the detention centers is similar, is that we're not really rehabilitating people. We're giving people a chance to turn around and have a different direction.
Yeah,
get the tools, and they have to make the choice. But if you don't give them that chance, you're gonna kick them out on the street, and they're gonna come right back a few days later.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing that probably got me the most, was looking at that and saying, why are we continuing to do the same stuff and expect different outcomes? And so thanks to Commissioner Skinner and some visionary sheriffs in the past, to say, if we don't treat this like what we really got, instead of what we're doing is we're trying to punish our way out of the symptom and not deal with the problem.
Yeah.
And so all you have to do, and by the way, dealing with the symptom is damned expensive. Yeah. I mean, that's the most expensive hotel room that you can find in this town.
Yeah.
But deal with the actual problem. Get to the problem, which in most of our cases is it's a mental health and co-occurring substance abuse disorder.
Yeah.
And so if you put a little resource in there, like mental health people, and you end up with a better result. The other thing we've got that's pretty cool is that this community provides us with 150 volunteers that come in to start working with those folks. We can talk about them in a second.
Yeah. We've got to take a short break. We do want to get to the things you're going to change. So I didn't mean to deviate there too much, but we've got another 10-minute segment. Maybe we can attack that as we come back. So, all right. Joe Skinner's in the house. Captain Jason Jarret's in the house, retired from the detention center, and we'll be back to talk to both those gentlemen right after this. So stay tuned. 24 minutes for the top of the hour. Time Eagle off your morning mayor. Shane Matobin, half man, half amazing, in Vancouver, British Columbia, covered in snow. And you don't have detention centers in Canada, do you? Everybody gets off free because you're such a socialist.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'd like the gentleman to explain to the listeners, I think it's real important. The talking heads on television don't give recognition to state, county, and city facilities. They talk about the number of people incarcerated in your country, but the majority of them are in state, county, and city, detention.
And nobody understands the difference between prisons and jails.
Exactly.
And jails are where we do the real work. Yeah. By the time you get to prison, you got to really work at it. I mean,
stay alive.
By the time you get sent to prison, you have bought your ticket and paid for it.
Right.
You're an overachiever.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
But it's just important that people know that the work you do and have done all your entire life, and the other people you know in the state prison system, in the city city holding systems. That's where most criminals in your country are held, and it's really important because it's not an easy job, as you've explained, and I thank you for that.
Yeah. All right.
You prevent anarchy.
Well, it is a basis of our society is the law and order piece, and it's the civilization, it's the quality of life, and we kind of consider ourselves the quality of life safety net. And there are the people that just need some place to not be out on the street anymore tonight, and there's some people that just need to go into jail and not come back out, and that's typically about 10 to 15%. And I've been in this business for a really long time. I've spent 30 plus years putting people in jail, and the last 5 years trying to get them out. But there are some people that we have not figured out how to fix that. And the best thing we can do for you is put you someplace where you can't hurt anybody.
All right.
And that's typically where prison ends up.
Yeah. Let's take a quick phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on the air with Jason Jarret and Joe Skinner. What's up?
Well, just wanted to wish JJ a happy retirement. This is Pete.
Hi, Pete.
And
Pete's a revolving door in his cell, right?
It seems like Pete's like a bad penny.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I know he keeps turning up every day here. What's up, Pete?
Well, I don't know. I guess to pat myself on the back, I kept the old jail cobbled together for years.
And that was no simple task. That's what happens when you cut it, when you try and save a nickel, right, Pete?
Right. I hear you. But Ron Brown was running that place, and my first involvement with it, the lock on the door from the lobby to the end of the airlock and control wasn't working. And if I would have been smart back in them days, I said, nope, I don't want it, and I can't fix it.
Yeah.
Because that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah, lock's pretty important.
Oh, you think
they
locks?
are. They're pretty damn complicated, too.
Yeah, and keys? God, you'd never believe that keys were such a big deal until you get into the jail business.
Don't you have push buttons and all that stuff?
Yeah, but you still have keys.
Yeah, you still have keys. All right.
And then those old locks, they had different voltages in them. I mean, it took me a few minutes to figure the damn thing out, but I got it.
Yeah.
Forever. But, JJ, enjoy your retirement, man. You earned it.
Thanks, Pete, very much.
All right. Thanks, Pete. All right. Now, at last, let's get to the new stuff. What's going on?
JJ, talk a little bit about what we actually do in the detention center to help people.
So it's not really new. It was built into the program, and we've just started to take it and get it running. Mm-hmm. And that was the commission and the sheriffs had a vision for how this should run. And that should be that there is a way to get yourself sorted out and come out of there healthier than a little better than you came in, right? So what Jackie Carey Lemon has at the place, it's the only place in the state that has it, is she runs inmate programs. And there's 60 plus programs in that jail with 150, 160 community volunteers, all run on volunteers, everything from AA and NA to yoga. And there's a couple things that go with that. Number one is the adult modeling, normal adult behavior being modeled to these people, which, as it turns out, is a pretty big deal. When you don't have an idea about what to do about conflict or emotion or anger, there is an option besides going to getting high or drunk or getting violent. But a lot of those folks have never had a model that says you can manage that differently. You can think about it, talk about it, process it a different way. And these volunteers do a remarkable job of providing that modeling, providing education. They do job skills, parenting skills, fiscal skills, all those things that we kind of take for granted and think, well, what do you mean you didn't understand how to do that or nobody had ever told you? Well, they didn't. That's why they're there, right? And so they get to not only hang out with good role models and learn some skills, but they get kept busy. And my mother and your mother and everybody else's mother said something about idle hands.
Yeah.
And so the more they spend
sitting in a cell is not a fun thing to do. Probably.
And it turns out inmates aren't stupid. there's some incredible intellects and some tremendous, skillful, artistic, people in there. But if you don't channel that, it's much like a high school classroom.
So I have a question, if I may. It's got two parts to it. Overview cameras, Tom mentioned that. And this Jeffrey Epstein incident, because as a person working in this industry, I'm sure you've taken in somewhat interest in it, in trying to understand how that happened. Do you deal with suicide a lot?
It is a very scary thing. And I'll mark you right back to saying 85% of the people in there have diagnosable mental health issues. There's a lot of depression, a lot of suicidal ideations. I mean, it's not a good day when you ended up in jail. There's a lot of things going downhill for you. Go ahead, Joe.
No.
Oh, I was hoping he'd step in on that.
Yeah.
So yes. So
as an example. Huh?
Here's the answer. If you know that you have a population that is 85% serious mental illness and substance abuse, and you don't have mental health capabilities in your jail, what are you doing? Really? Yeah. And I'll give this all the credit to the commission and the past sheriffs that said, well, no kidding.
Yeah. I got my dump button ready for you.
No kidding.
Keep your finger on that button for him.
Yeah, I'm retired. I don't care.
Yeah, right.
The point being is that if you don't take credit for knowing that you got that problem and dealing with it, then shame on you. And when you remember, there's a big difference between prisons and jails. And this jail decided that we would actually address the problem, not just warehouse the symptom.
Yeah, and JJ's told me a number of times that running a detention facility is a lot like running a mental health institution.
It is.
It is. It's almost the same because, like you say, 85% of them have mental health issues. So unless you deal with that.
And that's kind of what we found out. And Joe was part of this. We said, let's put some community resource into trying to deal with that problem. Mental health professionals, some case manager resource into that jail. It's not a lot of money. But when we actually started treating the problem, not just addressing the symptom, we ended up with 11% recidivism, not 60%. What does that mean to Mr. and Mrs. Smith on the outside? It means that Johnny, your son, doesn't come back to jail. He gets out
and gets a job,
and he gets a job,
paying taxes.
He's, all those.
And it's a safer community.
Right.
That's the big part.
Yeah.
Is the quality of life in the community goes up.
Right.
And so it was actually and I'm sad to say it, if we figured it out, I mean, we ain't no rocket surgeons. Yeah. But that was a pretty simple, pretty effective thing right off the bat to say, how about if we actually treat the problem and not just warehouse the symptom.
All right. I want to thank both of you guys for coming in. I know you got to go back to work, Joe, and Captain Jarret. We appreciate you coming in and enlightening us on what's going on down there.
Everybody should be proud of what's going on here.
Oh, good.
And I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank JJ for the years of service he's given to the county. There's not a lot of people you can say this about, but his service has actually made this community better in a lot of ways, and we're just thankful for the work he's done here.
All right. We appreciate it. Hey, thanks, guys, for being here, and we'll be right back with Shane and myself right after this. 11 minutes before the top of the hour, and it's Friday, January 17, 2020, 30 degrees outside. Shane and Tom and Half Man, Half Amazing on the line with me. And Shane, we went a little long on that last segment. We got about 2 minutes here before we got to get the rush update in here, but yeah.
But the Dow Jones is up 29,355. I'm heading to 29,500. So 30,000 probably.
We're on our way. Yeah.
We're on our way, baby.
Yeah. From our text line, 478-8298. Did Shane call Trump a problem solver? Trump created messes and problems. He creates messes and problems. For example, the Syria trade wars. I'm not aware of the Syria trade wars.
What is he talking about?
I don't know. I guess, I don't know. Tom could have avoided the draft. We were talking about Vietnam earlier. Tom could have avoided the draft. Just get a doctor's note for sore feet. I wish I had known that. I showed up at the physical in a dress, but everybody else was in a dress too, so it didn't work. So anyway, but more Trump lies. 11 U.S. troops injured in Iran missile strike on the base. Well, they found that out. Don't go nuts over it.
Yeah, exactly.
Classic Trump. When he breaks stuff, tariffs, socialism, farmer bailouts, he claims victory. When he calls off the trade war with China as a victory, and Shane and other cult members applaud it as a win. Well, he didn't call off the trade war. The sanctions are still there. The tariffs are still there, and they will be there until China proves they can do the first step of this agreement.
Fulfill it, yeah. Exactly.
And also, they're in trouble anyway. Their GDP is going down. Their growth is going down, and the tariffs are definitely hurting them. And that's why they came to the table. So, if you want to call that a loss, more power to you. So, all right, we got to get the Rush update in here. Here's Rush. 4 minutes before the top of the hour. Shane, boy, what a fun week, huh?
Big week.
Hey.
Huge. Numbers on downloads.
Yeah.
More.
Amazing, yeah. In the time we have left, the order for the pens, we're talking about Nancy's pens again.
Okay.
Order for the pens went in at least 2 years ago because they've been trying to impeach Trump ever since he was inaugurated. All right. I wish O'Connell had called a vote to dismiss so the constituents could see the true color of who they voted for. Tyrann Nancy is in trouble. Her and Shifty Schiff both have ties to Burisma, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see. Also, we've got thanks to Clint for making my month. Clint's dog story there. And let's see. We did that one already. Let's see. Impeachment for rigging elections. Well, if you could tell me how the election was rigged by a foreign government, I'll be happy to listen to it. But I don't understand how, I'm going to vote Democrat. And I walk into the booth and somehow a Russian vibe comes flying in the booth with me and says, no, you're going to vote for Trump.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just don't see that, If all the experts in our election, all these highly paid people can't overcome Russian interference, I don't know.
That's right. Even Biden couldn't do it.
Well, I know. Now, I understand it makes a lot of sense that there's no way the American people would elect Trump. It's got to be there's got to be some other reason. I mean, I'm sorry, I can't accept that people would walk in a voting booth and vote for Donald Trump for president. I mean, come on, that makes no sense at all. But apparently people did.
In large numbers.
In large numbers. And they did it in the states they needed to do it in. So, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting year this year, Shane. I hope we get to do a lot of it.
That's right. Yeah, and we have an extra day in February to enjoy.
I know. Well, don't get me started on the extra day in February. If you're going to add a day to the calendar, how about June or July? Or somewhere in there. How about that? All right. Say goodbye, Shane.
Right, have a great weekend, Mary. It's been great to talk to you, Eagle Man. Look forward to Monday morning when we talk again. Everybody, live in the moment, live to work, be happy, be safe. God bless the Gallatin Valley.
All right, man. Thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate you being my co-host for all these years, and you're greatly appreciated. So, all right. That's going to wrap it up for this portion, this week, I guess, of the the morning soapbox with Tom and Shane. Hey, we're brought to you by the Club Tavern and Grill. Check out the Club Tavern and Grill at the Best Western Grand Tree, North 7th, across from Walmart. Tell them Tom and Shane sent you. Hey, and don't forget to download our app, our AM 1450 KMMS app, because you need that. I mean, you can listen to us. Right next to the listen button is the app chat. You can send us messages right there. You can look up our podcast. You can get the weather anytime you want it. I mean, there's so many advantages to having that app on your phone. So get over to AM 1450 KMMS and get the app. If you're not sure how to do it, go to KMMSAM.com. We've got a page there to show you how to do it and get that because, if we're off the air broadcasting, many times we are streaming. So you'll never miss another KMMS Morning Soapbox. We'll see everybody Monday morning, 6 a.m.